Good morning, everybody. It is Brian Nemhauser, Hawk Blogger, talking to you on Friday morning. It is the day of training camp, 2015, July 31st, and just as we expected, it was going to be a big news day. Wasn't sure this was going to happen. Really did not know that the Seahawks and Russell Wilson would come to an agreement, which they did today, reported by Peter King first, I believe at around 6:45 this morning. And the deal, according to Peter King, is a 4-year extension worth $87.6 million. Now, what that means is, and in addition to the $87.6 million, report is $30 million signing bonus, $60 million guaranteed. And let's break down what that means for a second for the Seahawks. First of all, I've been hearing all along 4 years, $87 million was what the Seahawks were offering, what they were willing to do, what they felt like was reasonable, if not even generous. And the point so far, I've also heard pretty clearly from the other side. And I generally try to not break news, and I try not to get into sources and all that stuff. I am from I grew up in Oregon, but I live in Seattle. So, for the person asking, anyway, so I heard. I try not to break news. I try not to get into sources and all that. I basically, when people tell me stuff, I keep it to myself. I do. It does inform some of the things I write, but I don't want to get into the habit of breaking news and doing those things. I think a lot of bad stuff happens when you do that. And I'm just a fan. I want to see the right things happen. So I let the reporters do that job. But I will tell you, I've gotten a lot of inside information on both sides of this negotiation, and information that I absolutely believe to be true. And, wish I could tell you, because it's from about as good a sources as you could possibly have. And I've heard from both sides this is the weirdest negotiation that people have been involved with. Both sides weren't sure what was going to happen. I think both sides were not happy about the way things were happening in the media. And the thing that really was not expected to happen, or was not expected, I think specifically by the Seahawks side of this and Seahawks front office, was for Mark Rodgers and for Russell Wilson to be so negative about the offer that the Seahawks made, which was pretty generous. And honestly, from what I understand, I don't think it moved that much. So what's happened here is Mark Rodgers, probably was trying to convince Russell to hold out, and to not hold out from camp, but hold on, maybe take his $1.5 million, take the franchise tag next year. But in the end, it just didn't make sense. I mean, Russell Wilson was never going to make up the money that he lost by taking $1.5 million this year. So what goes on now is, with a $30 million signing bonus, that gets prorated over the length of the deal. It's a 5-year deal, essentially. It's a 4-year extension, but this is his essentially his 5th year is his current year. He'll get paid likely at his existing pay rate, $1.5 million. They'll add on the prorated portion of that bonus. So $6 million, $30 million divided by 5 is $6 million. So that'll bring in $6 million to the cap. That eats up a good portion of the cap space remaining for the Seahawks. And what that means is they've got to have, I think they have maybe $3 million left. They have to have that much just for injuries and to add other people during the season. So that's going to mean someone's gone. I think Tony McDaniel, I would not be surprised if he is cut soon. I would not be surprised if we hear that Brandon Mebane is restructured soon. So Tony McDaniel will be a $3 million gain in the cap if he were to leave. Brandon Mebane currently is $5 million against the cap, I believe. I have to double check that. But I know that they'd save $5 million if he was cut. I don't think Brandon Mebane is going to be cut. That doesn't make sense to me. I think what they do there is look to restructure and move some of his money, convert some of it to a signing bonus, and then move it out, some of the cost over to the next year, maybe the next 2 years. But I expect them to do more of a Zach Miller kind of deal, and that should create a little more cap room. And then I also would predict that this means Bobby Wagner is not going to get a deal. We'll see if I'm right on that. I know that they're close. I know that there's desire to get the deal on both sides. The Seahawks don't want to get into a situation where they have to use a franchise tag, but using it with Bobby Wagner would not be that costly. You're not talking $25 million like you would be with Russell Wilson, and if they get to that point, they can afford it. The reason they can't afford it this year is because they still have the $7.2 million dead money on the cap from Percy Harvin this year. That comes off the cap next year, creates a lot of space for additional work. Now that you've got Russell Wilson under tow, that was the rock in the river. That was the biggest deal. That was the thing that was going to take up the most cap room. They can build all their other deals around that. So it gives them a chance to renegotiate with people that they need to, if they need to do that. It gives them room and confidence to plan. And look, folks, we just got a freaking franchise quarterback that we drafted for the next 5 years, including this one. So, think about how old you are. Think about how old you'll be 5 years from now. It is 2015 now. Russell Wilson will still be a Seahawk in 2020. So I think that's great news all around. I think it's fantastic news. And Chase, I'll get to your question about renegotiating Cam in a second. Feel free to ask questions. I'll be able to get to some of those soon. But really, this is a testament to John Schneider and Pete Carroll. They held their ground. They did not waver. Maybe they ended up giving some more in guarantees, but realistically, Russell signed exactly the deal the Seahawks wanted him to sign. He came to his senses, and the reason I've been writing all along that people need to get realistic about the chance this might not happen and Russell may not end up with the Seahawks, because that's what was going to happen. I mean, the Seahawks were not going to budge. I can guarantee you they were not going to give him $25 million a year. They were not going to give him the money that he was asking for, the massive guarantees, over $70 million that he was asking for. And if Russell chose not to accept that, if Russell chose to be kind of the confident guy that we know him to be and just decide that he knew best, he was going to walk. He absolutely, the Seahawks were not going to sign him to that deal. So this came down to Russell most likely being the one that blinked and being willing to take money that is fantastic. It's right below Aaron Rodgers, but it is not number one money. It is not $25 million a year or something crazy like that. Next thing, who else gets affected by this? So I think the question was, does Kam Chancellor get renegotiated? I don't think so. They may choose to give, guarantee some more money up front. I think Cam is up against it. He can hold out. I don't think the team's going to be too upset about it. I think that he will get a week off from practice, which is probably best for him anyway. Give them a chance to see some of the other safeties in action. He'll get fines that pile up. Then you're going to see the Seahawks agree to not fine him and let him come back, and that'll be that. I mean, the guy's going to be here for week one. He is a warrior. He's a leader. Yes, he wants more money. That deal was fair when they signed it. In fact, most people criticized it as being an overpay. So the Seahawks did right by him. So the question here is, he has 4 more years left on his salary. Don't know why he wants more money. Oh, you're talking about Kam Chancellor. He actually, he has I think 3 more years left on his contract. But in any event, he's seeing his friends. He's seeing get more money. He's seeing the cap go up. He's seeing what Russell Wilson's getting. He wants to get a little bit more, and he knows how important he is to that team. He knows he's 27. He knows he's been injured. He knows he's going to get any guarantee next year. And that worries every, Seahawk, that they get every player. They get open to renegotiation. They get open to, restructures or cuts. I think all of us know that Kam Chancellor's not going to be cut, and they're not going to offend him next year. He could have a terrible year this year, and they'll still have him as a starting safety next year. He's too damn good. He's too important to this team. He's still young enough, but I can understand from Kam Chancellor's perspective wanting a little peace of mind. I think that's what he's looking for. If the Seahawks can throw him a bone, maybe they will. I am concerned that that will open the door to future negotiations for Richard and Earl and everyone else that's going to come banging on the door. So look for the Seahawks front office has been pretty damn sure of themselves in how they handle these negotiations. They don't budge. They do look at some creative ways to make players feel better. Marshawn Lynch did not get more money last year. He just got money that was already coming to him, guaranteed. So, he was not happy about what they, gave him, but it at least gave him a chance to save some face, come into camp, and just get back to work. So, great track record for your Seahawks front office. Again, big deal today with Russell Wilson. Look for the next shoe to drop to be Tony McDaniel probably getting waived. If not today, soon. Look for Brandon Mebane's deal to be restructured. I doubt it's today, but hopefully soon. And then we'll go from there. I think look for Bobby Wagner likely to not get a deal this year, and I think we'll see what happens when that comes up, either late this season or realistically next season when they have some room to roam. So. Let me, before I go, one more thing on that. The way that this could happen with Bobby Wagner is they'll save some room for injury signings. And if, for example, the Seahawks are very healthy this year and they end up having that cap space to spare, toward the end of the year, the Seahawks could decide to offer Bobby Wagner a deal that with a signing bonus that could be moved into this year. Otherwise, they're going to have to wait for the new league year to get that cap space to sign Bobby Wagner. So, everybody, congratulations. I will be at camp today. I will be periscoping after camp today to tell you my impressions live as I exit. And looking forward to keeping you guys in the loop and talking to you all year long. Take care.